afternoon from the kitchen, folks. In this film today, I'm going to be making a chicken and bean curry in my slow cooker. So let's have a look at the ingredients that are going to go in there. So it's chicken and beans, so I need chicken, and I've got two nice plump chicken breasts just here, which I'm going to cut up, and I've got beans which I've had soaking overnight. So these are black eye beans and rosecoco beans, or rosecoco beans. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but there's 100 grams of each has been soaking overnight. I'm also using split peas, so not quite beans, but you know, near enough. Now for my veggies that are going to go into this, I've got one red onion, I've got a leek, I've got 4 white mushrooms, half a yellow capsicum pepper, and I'm going to put some spinach leaves in as well. And to flavour this, well, there's all sorts going into this. I'm going to be adding some garlic puree, some ginger paste, some bay leaves. I've got chana massala. You could use a bit of curry powder, but I'm going to use a bit of chana masala. Paprika. It says chilli flakes, but it's actually chilli powder. Turmeric. Basil. And cumin. I'm also going to be adding some coconut milk into this, which is going to form the bulk of the liquid, and the rest of the liquid is in this jar here. And this was a jar of peanut butter, and when I get to the end of a jar of peanut butter and you've got the scrapings around the edge, I pour some boiling water in, give it a shake around, and that makes a nice bit of nutty water, which is great in stews and curries. And I can't remember whether I mentioned it or not, but I've also got some bay leaves just here. This is going to be proper tasty. Let's crack on with that recipe. So I've got the beans that have been soaking overnight. I'm just going to pour them into this sieve, drain that water off, and then I'm going to give them a little rinse under the tap. And these beans are going to go into a saucepan, and I'm going to fill this up with water and add a little salt. So I've now got the beans on the cooker. I'm going to put them on a very low light, put the lid on top, and just leave these until they come to a simmer. I don't want to rush it, I don't want them to boil over. Let's crack on with the veg. I'm going to begin with my red onion, and I'm simply going to take off the outside bit, top and tail it, and then I'm going to peel back any nasty bits of skin that I don't want. Try and keep as much flesh as possible. That's all good stuff. So I'm going to cut my onion in half, and then I'm going to go down like so, and then the other way. So basically I'm dicing it. I've got some nice regular sized pieces just there, and I shall do the same with this bit. And then all of that then goes into the slow cooker dish. So I've got a little bed of onions on the bottom, which I always like to do when I'm using the slow cooker, so the meat isn't actually touching the bottom. Next up is my leek, and I'm going to remove the bottom, and I'm going to trim it to about here, and then I'm just going to go down it with the knife and have a look inside it, because sometimes you get soil and I don't like that, but that looks pretty clean to me, so I'm going to keep all of that. Discard this for compost. And now I'm just going to go down my leek and cut it into slices like so. And then my leek goes on top of the onion. Next up, my capsicum pepper. And again with this has already been half used. There are some seeds in there, but they're fine. They will soften to nothing. And I'm just, again, dicing this into nice kind of regular sized pieces. And that is going to go on top. I'm just going to give my mushrooms a little rinse under the kitchen tap. There we go. I noticed a little bit of soil on them. So my mushrooms are going to be cut into 4. So each one essentially like that. And then they will also go on top. Now I've got some young spinach. Better than old spinach. I'm just going to put a little bit on top like so, just a handful on there. This will all squish down and flatten down inside there as it heats up and the fibres begin to break down, but that's enough for now. And I've now got a couple of nice juicy breasts. Ooh. So what I'm going to do with these is simply go down them with the knife into strips. Really lovely meat. And then with each of those strips, I'm just going to cut it in the other direction to make some chunks. So I'm going to get my chunks on there. So I've got to cut all of the breasts up into strips and then chunks and lay them on top of the spinach. I'll come back to you in a sec when I've done that. Okay, that's all my chicken layered on top. I'm just going to get my split peas now and just shake a few of those on. I'm not going to put tons in because I don't need tons of stuff in here. Incidentally, I'm making enough for 4 people here. So this is my peanut butter water, and if you don't have peanut butter water, which most people won't have, then just use a couple of teaspoonfuls of peanut butter. But it just seems a shame to waste that lovely flavour. And I'm going to pour that on next. That drains right through to the bottom, and you can really smell the peanut butteriness. Now I've got my bay leaves, and I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, let's have another one in there, 5 bay leaves, which we won't eat. We'll pull them out before we eat them, but they'll just put a lot of nice flavour in there. Now I've got my ginger paste. Just going to give that a stir around, and I'm going to add 1, a little bit of dribble there, 2 and 3 teaspoonfuls of ginger paste in there. Now my garlic puree, and again I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 teaspoonfuls of garlic puree in there. Right, coconut milk, just got to get into the tin. Anybody in the group got a recommendation for a good tin opener? Please say so in the comments. Oh, this one's a pain. So I'm going to just open that. There's the nice coconut milk, and I'm going to pour this on top. And you can see that the constituency of it varies from the very milky creaminess to the very wateriness. It's fine. Once this begins to cook, it'll all blend together just nicely. So I'll just give it a little helping hand sinking in. Looks a bit odd at the minute with this colour, but don't you worry, that will develop and change as this cooks. And now it's time to get my dry herbs and spices in. So starting off with the basil, I'm just going to sprinkle some on top, and there is probably the equivalent of 1.5 teaspoons of basil there. Following up with the cumin, and I'm going for about a teaspoon of cumin there. Paprika, again, round about a teaspoon, or a little bit more because I do like paprika. In fact, that's the jar done, so let's just chuck it in. Chana masala, I'm just going to break this up a little bit because it's been stood for a while, and I'm going to empty what the contents of this in there. So there's probably just over a teaspoonful going in. Normal curry powder would absolutely be adequate for this. Okay, so turmeric, I want the equivalent of 1 teaspoonful in there. And finally, let's spice it up a little bit. We need some chilli powder. So I'm going to put, I like it spicy. So I'm going to put the equivalent of just over, oops, definitely just over, oh dear, a teaspoon in there. That's probably more like 2 teaspoons now. I don't mind, I like spiciness. So I'm just going to pat this down a little bit, mix it in. I want this to coat the chicken, which is kind of on top, because that will help it to marinate as it cooks. Now I'm not going to add any more liquid at this stage, because the slow cooker is a juicy thing and it creates a lot of juices out of what goes in there. So I've now got the slow cooker bowl. Inside the slow cooker, I've got the lid on, and I'm going to put this on high, and it's going to go on high for the first hour or so. So I've got this warming up, and I'm waiting for these to come to a simmer. Once these are simmering, I'll come back to you. Right, just a quick update from the hob. You can see that the beans are now simmering. I'm going to give them 10 minutes simmering, and then I'm switching them completely off. So 10 minutes has passed. I'm simply going to turn the heat off these now, and I'm going to leave them to stand for a good 45 minutes. Hey folks, I'm back. 45 minutes has passed, and I must apologise for the background noise. I've got the air still just kicked in over there, but that won't interfere with what I'm doing here, providing you can put up with that fan noise in the background, but hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction. Let's have a look at the food. So the beans have been basically sitting there in hot water and they've absorbed some, but they haven't cooked. I want to cook the beans properly inside here. Now this has been on for an hour and you can see it's the heat has built up and it's steamed up inside as it begins to break down the vegetables and release liquid from them. So lid police, look away, but I'm just going to remove that. And what I'm now going to do is get my beans in there. So I'll just lay them on top for now. Right, that's all my beans in the slow cooker, and now I'm going to add a little bit of the water that they were soaking in. That's enough. I don't want this to become too watery, but I do need it to be wet enough for the beans to absorb the liquid and actually cook properly themselves. So I'm just going to push the beans down now into the mixture a bit. And what I'm expecting with this is that the liquid level will rise and the beans will be immersed eventually. Right, the lid goes on and I'm going to leave this on high for another hour, so I'll come back to you then. Hey folks, an hour has passed, let's have a look at it. So I'm going to take the lid off again, don't worry. Smells very nice and curry-ish. I'm just going to, yeah, there's a lot of liquid there. So I'm hoping that the beans and the pulses will absorb that liquid, because otherwise it's going to be a bit too runny. But if that is the case, what I can do is add a little bit of flour to thicken it up, and I might well do that. But essentially how it smells is great, and I'm sure this is going to be very flavoursome. So lid goes back on, and I'm now turning this down to low, and it's now going to stay on low for 6 hours. So I'll come back to you in 6 hours time. Hey folks, well it's 4 hours later, and that is earlier than what I said it would be. But I just want to have a little look at this now to see what it's like in terms of how liquidy it is and whether I need to think about thickening it up. So let's just have a quick look. I mean, the colour's changed, it looks beautiful, it looks like a curry. The whole house smells of curry, which I don't mind at all. Oh, that's not bad actually. Yeah, the pulses have done their thing, which is good, along with the beans. And whilst it is a little bit liquidy on top, it's not overly concerning. I think with the rice that'll be just fine actually. So I'm going to leave it as is. I was thinking about putting a bit of flour in, but I don't think I need to. So it's all good from my perspective. 2 hours to tasting. Catch you then. Okay, within 45 minutes of eating, I need to get some rice on. Rice is nice, so I've got some white rice here with a few sultanas, a couple of bay leaves and a bit of salt. Lovely jubbly. Just going to put some cold water onto that. Super smashing, great and lovely. Right, gas on very low. I'll see you in a bit for the tasting. Okay, the rice is just about cooked. I think I can turn that off now. I'm going to remove the bay leaves. Right folks, once again apologies for the background noise. Air is still doing its thing. Mrs. has bought me a Ninja food processor. What a legend she is. Never tried this before, can't wait to try it out. But the rice is done. The curry is ready to be served. I am going to turn it from low to off. And my bowls are nice and warm on top of the slow cooker. Right folks, it's time to dish up. So let's get these bowls off. Oof, that's nice and hot. Now, you're probably going to get a bit steamed up here. Here's the rice. Rice is nice. I'm going to get that into the bowl. And I'm going to do a 1970s style rice circle. So I'm just going to get that in there and dish that around. I think that's ready for some curry. So let's give this bad boy a stir. Oh yes, really nice constituency. So hot. And I'm dipping straight in with the ladle. Chicken veg sauce, kaboom. Okay, I think that's enough to be going on with. So as ever, the proof is in the eating, and it's blooming hot, so eating might be a bit of a challenge. I'll do what I can. That is absolutely gorgeous. Oh wow, the spices together with the chicken and the beans and the veg, it just all works. And when you've got that little bit of sharpness from the extra bit of chilli that went in, then that rice mops it up and it saves you. But to be fair, the beans do a good job as well. The sultanas in the rice add a bit of sweetness to complement the spiciness, and sweet and spicy always works. This is actually very, very tasty and a nice combo. It's almost got a nice sort of gravy quality to it, but a spicy gravy at that. I have no complaints, it's actually really lovely. Bit of chicken, nice big bit of chicken. Just falling apart. No apologies for talking with my mouth full. It's really good. Okay, I'm going to go and enjoy this. Hope you've enjoyed the film. Have a go at making this for yourself. Tell me what your favourite curry is in the comments. I'd like to make that too, so let me know. And I'll catch you on the next film, whatever that may be. See you then, folks. Catch you later. It's proper nice. The film that you've just watched is a Moss Home and Garden production. You can find more by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. I'd just like to say thank you very much for supporting my YouTube channel and for watching my films. It really is very much appreciated. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel in order to receive future updates about the home and garden films which I upload. You can find my YouTube channel by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. Please click on the red subscribe button. When you've done that, a little bell will appear. If you press that also, then you'll get future updates about the films which I upload. If you like my films, if you like my style of filming, then you might also like my travel channel, which you will find by going to youtube.com/Stuart Moss or type in www.mosstravel.tv. Again, if you could subscribe to that channel, it would be hugely appreciated. If you'd like to get Moss Home and Garden updates on Facebook, then please open Facebook and do a search for Moss Home and Garden, and you will find the page. If you like the page, then you will get future updates on there. And if you'd like to connect on Instagram for home, garden and travel photography, as well as some stories, then my username is Stu Moss, STUMOSS. If you'd like to connect on Twitter, then my username is @StuartMoss. And if you'd like to contact me about film usage or any other issue, please just email me on stewmosshomegarden@gmail.com. Once again, thank you very much for supporting my channel, for watching my films. I do appreciate it. I'd just like you all to have a great day.